Hi, Bridgeway families. We're continuing today with our story, The Sun Stops Shining. And this is the story about the crucifixion. It is on page 302 in your Jesus Storybook Bible. If you have it, this one is the one I'm reading from that we're following along with. And again, it's the crucifixion story from Matthew 27, Mark 15, Luke 23, and John 19. So, you're a king, are you? The Roman soldiers jeered. Well, then you'll need a crown and a robe. They gave Jesus a crown made out of thorns, and they put a purple robe on him and pretended to bow down to him. Your Majesty, they said. And then they whipped him. They spat on him. They didn't understand that this was the Prince of Life, the King of heaven and earth, who had come to rescue them. The soldiers made him a sign, Our King, and nailed it to a wooden cross. They walked up a hill outside of the city. Jesus carried the cross on his back. Jesus had never done anything wrong, but they were going to kill him the way that criminals were killed. They nailed Jesus to the cross. Father, forgive them, Jesus gasped. They don't understand what they're doing. You say you come to rescue us, people shouted, but you can't even rescue yourself. But they were wrong. Jesus could have rescued himself. A legion of angels would have flown to his side if he called them. If you really were the Son of God, you could just climb down off that cross, they said. And of course they were right. Jesus could have climbed down. Actually, he could have just said one word and made it all stop, like when he healed that little girl and stilled the storm and fed over 5,000 people. But Jesus stayed. You see, they didn't understand. It wasn't the nails that kept Jesus there. It was love. Papa, he cried, frantically looking at the sky. Papa, where are you? Don't leave me. For the first time and the last time, when he spoke, nothing happened. Just a horrible, endless silence. God didn't answer. He had turned away from his boy. Tears rolled down Jesus' face, the face of the one who would wipe every tear from every eye. Even though it was midday, a dreadful darkness covered the face of the world. The sun could not shine. The earth trembled and quaked. The great mountains shook. Rocks split in two. That creation, until it seemed like the world would break, that creation itself would rip apart. The full force of the storm of God's fierce anger at sin was coming down on his own Son. Instead of his people, it was the only way God could destroy sin and not destroy his children whose hearts were filled with sin. Then Jesus shouted in a loud voice, It is finished. And it was. He had done it. Jesus had rescued the whole world. Father, Jesus cried, I give you my life. And with a great sigh, he let himself die. Strange clouds and shadows filled the sky, purple, orange, black, like a bruise. Jesus' friends gently carried Jesus. They laid him in a new tomb that was carved out of rock. How could Jesus die? What had gone wrong? What did this mean? They didn't know anymore. Except they did know that their hearts were breaking. That's the end of Jesus, the leaders said. But just to be sure, they sent strong soldiers to guard the tomb. They hauled a huge stone in front of the door to the tomb so that no one could get in or out. That will lead us up to our next story, which will be about God's wonderful surprise and the resurrection.